We went to Indiana ComicCon.
I hope we went to go see Rosario Dawson.
This is so weird to me that I am taller than Darth Vader. Kind of into like the big meat of this episode. Is Omega force sensitive? I guess the next question is Omega's future with Ventress?
It's him.
Right, you go left.
Well, this could be it.
Halt. Men, stand down. The Admiral wants a word with you two.
Greetings, it is I, Admiral Enigma.
Quinlan Voss?
No, bro, it's Enigma now. Way cooler, super mysterioso.
What do you want?
Fellas, I know you've had contact with Clone Force 99. My sweet Asajj, my pale white flower, has gone to meet them.
Ventress? Isn't she dead?
Yeah. I read a whole book about it.
And like the effervescent dew of springtime on the slopes of Alderaan, my radiant Asajj has returned. Somehow. And I long to feel her embrace again.
Dude, can you just cut to the chase?
I intercepted a communication between her and Fennec Shand. She's going to the clones about the Empire's in-count bounties.
And?
And, since you dudes know the clones, I thought maybe you could wingman for me. Bro to bro, you know? I kinda got her fried by Dooku, so now I'm a little nervous to reach out to my bodacious babe again.
Aren't you a Jedi?
Depends how I'm feeling, dude. And right now, I'm kind of feeling like you dudes aren't being bros about this. So maybe I'll just get these TKs to Order 66 ya, Republic style. You feeling me?
Honestly, did us a favor. It was so weird.
We gotta talk about Ventress. Yeah, we do.
Hello, and welcome to episode 30 of Beyond the Dune Sea. My name's Seth.
And I'm Konnor.
My favorite comment is from our video last week, which was about the Bad Batch. And we talked about the Acolyte as well. But this is from the Draven 6 on YouTube. In my opinion, High Republic novels have been overall the best stories since the new Jedi Order books. The comics are okay, but they feel like just additions to the novels.
Got a lot of people who are messaging us about High Republic books. And,
maybe we need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are part of a book club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of somebody who's in our book club, Grayson from MortisFM, him and a bunch of other creators have all teamed up to read and review the High Republic books leading up to Acolyte.
Okay.
So go to MortisFM's page. Forgive me, I'm not super familiar with all the creators, but they all look like great people, great creators. A few of the reviews are out already. I think Grayson is doing Light of the Jedi, if I'm not mistaken. So, and if I'm totally wrong about that, Grayson, and you watch this episode, I'll pin your comment. You can tell me how wrong I am.
How wrong you are.
But yeah, seriously, I'm excited about that because I'll admit, during last week, I wasn't so hot on High Republic, but all the DMs and comments that we've gotten about High Republic, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll revisit this.
Gotcha.
So pretty cool.
Again, I had said last week that I'd read the first 10 issues of the comic. I thought they were okay, and Draven's saying that they really are just kind of like tack-ons. So maybe I do need to be reading the novels. That's the problem. Is I was only reading trying to view the thing through a pinhole when I should be trying to
I think the idea of it was always cool, like this publishing initiative where they had concept art and everybody's on the same page about what everybody looks like and all this stuff. I think it's a really cool idea.
Well, Lucasfilm's kind of always done that with those multimedia projects like Shadows of the Empire and Force Unleashed, where it's true. You gotta, read the novel, read the comic, play the game, and you kind of get all the full thing. This
is in an era where nobody knows what anybody looks like.
And, or any creatures look like or anything like that. Yeah.
So I think it was cool that they established an iconography way to this era before they started writing, which is really neat. So everybody, like you have a picture in your mind, because that's what's nice with other Star Wars books. You know what Luke looks like. You know, you can picture that while you're reading. You know what these guys all look like. But when you're reading High Republic,
no idea.
It's just, if it were me and I didn't have that, I'd probably picture prequel Jedi, and they do kind of look like that, but they got their own vibe to it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
very legal look to them. Yeah.
A lot of media is built off of that, which is pretty neat. So, and my comment that I really enjoyed, I don't know that I so much enjoyed it. I just want to address it.
Oh.
Star Wars Sith 66, Tony, last video. Another great episode. Thank you. Konnor, we need to get to the library this week. They do still exist in 2024. The laughing, crying emoji. I realized how much of an idiot I sounded like when I made that comment.
That you forget the library exists?
Here's what I meant by that. I don't not know that libraries exist, obviously. But in my mind, I used to go a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so, and this maybe doesn't sound any better, but I just don't think about the fact that they get new stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you're still imagining the library. When
Yeah, I'm still imagining, because I mean, I went to libraries and stuff, of course, while I was in school, and I've been there several times since being an adult, right? But in my mind's eye, the library is still like that, the specific one that I went to when I was a kid. It's just because I went there so much that it's just kind of locked in my brain. Like, that's the library.
Yeah.
Like, even the church that I went to was across from the library, and that was the joke, because it was called the church from across the library. It was never called by its actual name.
Okay.
So that was why I made that comment. And I, even listening back to it, I was like, gosh, I sound so stupid. So I thought I'd put that out there.
I assume I sound stupid every week.
Well,
So
I was going to say, I edit these. I know I sound stupid every week. So anyway, so before we get into Bad Batch, we had some fun over the weekend.
We did.
We went to Indiana ComicCon.
I overcame my fears and I went to a convention.
You did?
I did.
So
yeah,
we got a video coming out about that. If it's not out already, I kind of doubt it's going to be out before this episode is, but it is coming. I'm pretty proud of it so far, actually. I think it's a pretty fun video. We kept it pretty Star Wars centric because we're here out beyond the Dune Sea. You know? Obviously, a lot more than just Star Wars there at the convention, but that's what we were there for.
Yeah.
So we got to do a few cool things while we were there. Yeah. So I guess we'll work up to. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with my haul.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple things because I went day 2 with my wife. You only went day 1 with me.
I went, yeah.
But I did pick up a couple small things I thought I'd share with the class.
Oh, okay. Well, what'd you get, honey?
So this is going to seem so dumb. I got this. There's a $5 bin at one of them. And they had a ton of these. I don't know if anybody recognizes these. These came out in like, see, is there a copyright date down here? Well, so it's got Gindi Yoda on here.
Yeah.
So it had to have been around 2003.
Yeah.
I loved these when I was a kid. I don't know why.
Just like,
because I kind of aged out of these already. I just am a fan of like stylized things.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of them that you could get, like a bunch of these packs, like Yoda and the Clone Trooper. That one's particularly nostalgic to me for some reason. But this was the first one that I got. And I don't know. It just
spoke to you.
It did. Yeah. I think part of it, I don't know if anybody remembers Tech Deck dudes.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
That?
Yeah.
Like the thumbs that were on the magnetic skateboards.
Yeah, for the skateboards.
These kind of look like that. Not really, but they have that like kind of squished vibe to it. So I know, super goofy, but this was one thing. If you want to take a gander. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen them before. I mean, I've never really, I guess I've walked past them in the store. Yeah. I've never, ages 3 to 8. I mean, if they were young when you,
I was way older than 8 when I was
way older then. It's like, yeah. So like I walked past them. I mean, Obi-Wan's kind of cute.
And they were also cheap too. And that was one thing, like when I was a kid, I just, not a ton of money, just could get what you got. And I always liked stylized things. Yeah. Like even today, the new Hasbro line, the kids line, the 5 POA. Yeah. I kind of dig that a little bit, So that was one thing. For the audio listeners, I apologize. I didn't say what it was. Galactic Heroes line. Was that a Hasbro line?
I think so.
From like 2003.
Yeah.
And I also like the art on the side. Just fun. It kind of looks like Star Tours a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. This is 2004.
So 2004.
So
There you go. There you go.
Hasbro. Yep. Join the official Star Wars fan club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing I went to, there was a booth who had the best prices at the entire convention, in my opinion. They had a booth with TVC figures, vintage collection, $10 a piece, all of them.
Yeah.
I was like, I almost bought several, but I have to remind myself, I'm like, I'm not a big TVC guy.
Yeah.
But I almost bought Captain Hauser because he's like he's named Captain Bakara or not Bakara, Captain Braca, something like that. I
Yeah.
don't remember. It was an incorrect name.
Oh, okay.
Because they, I guess, changed it in production before Hasbro got a chance to change it.
Gotcha.
But I almost got him because I think that's neat.
Yeah.
But I did get
Roger.
a battle droid from
Yeah.
the 2003 Clone Wars series because I have a lot of these other figures, and one of these days I'm going to actually make the video. I have a video planned for all these figures.
Mhm.
One of these days I'm going to actually make that. They're all sitting over there. They've been sitting there in a box for forever.
Oh, I remember.
So, but I don't have many 3.75 battle droids.
Yeah.
So I was
Well,
like,
it's cool because that's another part of the collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually only missing Barris at this point
Yeah.
from that line. And then the last thing, I have a story about this.
Uh-oh. That's Sebastian Shaw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sebastian Shaw, Anakin Skywalker from the Power of the Force line. It's got this cool little like
Yeah.
flashback.
It shows the little Anakin.
It shows little Anakin with old man Anakin.
Yeah.
So this is such a goofy story, but I thought this really reminded me of it. It's why I bought it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was a convention center in a town about an hour away from my dad's house. And we would go to these boat shows every year.
Okay.
Boat and RV shows. My dad and my stepmom were real into like boating and camping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we would go every year. And I had an okay time, as a kid. It's kind of like going furniture shopping as a kid, right? That now, my jam. I love going furniture shopping. But 10-year-old me, not
I
into
get
it.
you. Yeah. You can only sit on so many boats. I mean,
Exactly.
you're not even in the water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Okay.
So but I did enjoy going, and there would always be these flyers for this. They had a flea market convention,
Oh.
and I love me a good flea market.
Yeah. Who doesn't like picking through stuff?
I love it.
Yeah.
So we finally, one year we went because my dad would always tell me we'd go, but then there was something going on and we never could make it because it was usually during the summer when we'd be up camping because we camped every weekend.
Yeah.
So we went to this flea market convention. Coolest thing. It's a core memory. I loved it so much. It was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's my kid brain. Maybe this convention center wasn't this big, but it was the size of Indiana ComicCon, like all just flea market.
Okay.
It was big. I don't know if it was that big, but it was big.
Yeah.
And I dig through all the booths, and there was one booth that was just Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I could spend all day there as a kid. And I found this 3-pack. It was Power of the Force, the green card back of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda.
Yeah.
But it was this Anakin.
Okay.
I had never seen that before because at this point, Revenge of the Sith had come out.
Yeah.
So
So you hadn't seen the old
I had never seen the original
cut
of Return of the Jedi. And I was like, this is so cool. Like what? I think that might have been one of my first interactions with the special editions.
Mm-hmm. Well, realizing that you had seen the special edition.
Yeah. Well, because I saw the original New Hope. That was the first Star Wars movie I watched. But the other two, I'm fairly positive were the special editions. And it just, I thought it was so cool, but I didn't buy it because I didn't have enough money. And so I always told myself, because in my, again, kid brain, I'm like, I'll go next year. He'll have that exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I'll pick it up. We never went back.
But did you go to the boat show?
Yeah, we sure did.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Yeah. So
thanks, Dad.
This has always been something that's just like, I don't know. It's kind of there in my brain, like this figure and this sculpt.
Yeah.
So I saw this in that $5 bin with that, and I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a little piece of my
Star
my
Wars history. Yeah.
Like it's even got this like lightsaber that's just so random.
It's not Anakin's lightsaber, which is weird.
It looks like Obi-Wan's actually, or Luke's. So anyway, little story time. I think that stuff's cool. And it was a thing from my childhood. I actually, when we got in the car, I was like, should I have bought that? That's so stupid.
I think it's fun. Well, especially you're going to open them up. You could hide them somewhere.
I'll probably keep that sealed. I haven't decided on this. This will get open when I do my video.
Yeah. Okay.
But so that was part of my haul. You didn't really get anything, did you?
No, not really.
You got an experience.
I did.
Several.
I'm all about the experiences.
So we met a few people while we were there.
We did.
So who's your guy that you met?
So I met Mark Bagley Say what you're getting at?
Yeah, who's that?
Yeah, so he is a comic book artist. In my opinion, he draws the best Spider-Man. He drew him in the 90s when I was growing up. And my first comic book was actually a Mark Bagley Spider-Man comic book. And yeah, so that was pretty cool that I brought down an issue 3 of Maximum Carnage. So it's a big crossover where Carnage teams up with a bunch of bad guys and Spider-Man has to team up with a bunch of people to try to take him down. And again, just a good Mark Bagley issue because it went through, well, I'll try and do this. It went through Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider, or Sensational Spider-Man, I think a book just called Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man. And so it was all 4 of those books. So Mark Bagley was only doing one of the 4 of those issues. And yeah, just good stuff. You know, I really I dig his artwork.
Did you get starstruck meeting him a little bit?
No, not really. I mean, like I told him that you know, to me, no one's done it better. It's good stuff. And he's still drawing Spider-Man today. He's working on Superior Spider-Man right now. He did the whole Ultimate Spider-Man run, which is so when the Raimi movies were coming out, Ultimate Spider-Man was also like being worked on that comic book, and there's a lot of similarities. Yeah. So,
cool. Yeah, it looked like you had a good time over there.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I'm happy that I got to see him. I
got to meet an artist that I've been interested in meeting for a while.
Yeah.
Mr. Timothy Zahn, who wrote the Heir to the Empire trilogy. He's the guy who created Thrawn.
He invented Thrawn.
He wrote the original Heir to the Empire. Is it Dark Rising? I always forget the
Dark Forces. Dark Forces Rising.
But anyway, I got a chance to go chat with him, and he was like super low key.
Wanted to chit chat with you for a while.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
Talked to him for a few minutes. It was kind of nice because if you've never been to a convention, you know, you kind of expect that you're in, you're out. Yeah, you're in, you're out. Yeah. But no, he had just a table in the middle of the convention. I wanted to get a hardback Heir to the Empire book, but he was sold out of those. So I picked up that comic because I have issue 2. Seth got me issue 2, but I don't have issue 1, so I got issue 1 of Thrawn Alliances. And he signed it. His autographs were free too.
Yeah.
And I told him that I was like, you know, I think out of every author I've read, every artist that I've read, I think that you have written the original trilogy characters most true to the original trilogy, in my opinion. And he seemed to appreciate that. But then I showed him, I didn't have the intention to actually show the video, but there's that animated trailer from, I think it's Jar Jar Jargon, and just the thumbnail of it. And I just asked him, I was like, hey, I'm just curious, have you seen this before? Because I think that's so cool. And he was like, no, you know, I'm aware that stuff's out there, but I'm not allowed to look at fan art. And I'm like, really? And I didn't know if he would elaborate on that. So I was just like, well, why? Like, why can't you look at anything? And he's like, yeah, I can't because I still work for Star Wars currently, which is interesting, by the way.
Why would he be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's kind of...
What's he cooking?
Helping, either writing a new book or if he's helping out with...
I'm sure that he's helping write the scripts
for the Heir to the Empire movie.
Yeah.
And he said that, it's kind of a directive from Lucasfilm that there's a lot of legal red tape about like if he were to watch something and then even subconsciously pull an idea from it, there's a lot of issues. So he doesn't look at anything. And so I was like, that's so interesting, you know? And so then I asked, I'm like, well, just out of curiosity, would you personally be interested if Lucasfilm officially made like a 2D animated adaptation of Heir to the Empire? And he was like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want their artwork to be turned into a cool movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very cool. So I got a picture with him. And then day 2, I actually literally ran into him. Because he was coming back from the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize at first. I was like, oh, hey.
Did he remember you?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't wearing the same outfit or anything. But he smiled at me. And I told him then, because we were kind of near his table anyway, he got a photo with Hayden Christensen the day before.
Oh, okay.
And he had his cover of Thrawn Alliances with the one with Hayden.
Yeah.
The Hayden, you know.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, it's really cool that the cover of your book was like the first official thing that we saw of Hayden Christensen's likeness as Anakin in the Clone Wars armor.
Yeah.
I just think that's really neat. And yeah, so
I remember seeing that cover for the first time and be like, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. I had the same reaction. So, but that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
We had 2 more interactions.
Yeah. You want to go first? Or you want me to?
You can go first.
Okay. We went to go see Rosario Dawson, and we had her sign one of my a photo I did of a Star Wars action figure that I did of Ahsoka.
I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know if it's in frame.
It's back. Yeah, it's back behind me. But she was lovely. She was like, it was nice. Like she actually it felt like she actually took the time to talk to us. Yeah. And we actually kind of talked. It was nice.
Yeah. We talked for like a minute or so.
Yeah. You know? So that was cool. I mean, and it was cool because you could tell that as soon as the picture was set in front of her, she was like, this is different. This is I didn't bring this. Why am I signing this? And then I had, the whole thing is this was, I think part of Beyond the Dune Sea's genesis or whatever is that she liked this image on Instagram. And then I felt like this is the time. That was why I felt like we needed to be pushing. We'd always kind of talked Ahsoka was going to be our beginning, but I was that was when I was like, all right, we have to do Ahsoka. Just because this is a sign that that we should do this. And, I kind of told her that and everything. And she thanked me for making her look badass and
said to keep tagging her.
Yes. And told us to keep tagging her and stuff. So I plan to do that. My favorite interaction, which this is so weird, which I told you that the guy in front of us gave her books. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as soon as she was done talking to him, she looked at us and went that to me. And I just was that just felt like her, and that was nice that I was this is okay. This is cool. This is happening. Yeah. So yeah,
I was kind of taken aback because the only time I've ever done one of these was we were at Chicago ComicCon a couple years ago, and Charles Martinet was there. No, it wasn't Chicago. I don't remember what ComicCon it was.
You went and saw Mario, right?
Yeah, it was Mario. Yeah. The voice of Mario was there, and my wife is a big Mario fan.
Yeah.
And I was just standing in line with her. She had even dressed up, and I was not planning on being in the photo. I was just going to, when she got up there, okay, but they kind of shoved me in with her.
Yeah.
Which she was really glad about. She wanted me to be in it, but I was like, I just look like an idiot because I'm wearing my Grogu hat. And, you know, but that was quick. And there was a big glass pane there because it was kind of right after COVID.
Yeah.
It was nice, but it was just it was so fast. And I was like, I just don't think these are for me. You don't get meaningful interactions with anybody. And it's just to say you did it, right?
Yeah.
That's what was my perception.
Yeah.
And so with Rosario, we went in there and there was kind of 3 people at a time that kind of came in. And I just was tagging along with Seth because you were allowed to have an extra person in there with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, the people she was getting passed photos, to write, because you gave your photo to her assistant and she would pass it on to Rosario,
Yeah.
And she was nice, talking to everybody, but everybody we saw go through, I don't know, she stopped, had a reaction. He's being a little humble about this, but she, when she was passed his photo, she stopped and acknowledged it.
Yeah.
And it was oh, I remember seeing this.
She says that, but I don't know.
But she said that, that was cool. And she took the time, she chatted with us. I told her, I told her that I really appreciated that she felt like an extension of the animated character.
Yeah.
And
she was here's to more. Let's
keep that's what I said. I was on our way out. I was hey, can't wait to see more. And she's me too.
Yeah.
But she just was very genuine. Yeah. I could see why this is addicting. Because I was that was really cool.
She is on my short list. It's pretty cool that it was cool to see her. But she's on my short list of Star Wars people that I would actually like to meet. So I'm happy that we did it and everything. Yeah. So
yeah,
again, very cool experience.
And then we had one more. We had one more.
Yeah, we did have one more.
We did a photo op.
Yes.
With Mr. Anakin Skywalker himself.
Oh my gosh.
Hayden Christensen.
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah. This is so weird to me that I am taller than Darth Vader.
He's kind of crouched. I think you're about the same height as Darth Vader.
I don't know, man. That's wild to me. I would have thought that I would be so much shorter than him.
Yeah.
But that was cool. That was very fast.
Yes.
It
I mean, it had to be. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, the lines were insane.
But he stayed until like 11
Long after we
midnight.
left. Yeah.
Way after the con closed because there were still lines, and they made a post that was like, "Hey, Hayden's still here taking care of his fans."
Yep.
And we got in there, and I saw him first, and he like. It was funny because when you're going in there, they were very strict, like about everything, and they were like, "No handshakes, no hugging, no props, none of that stuff." And we're like, "Okay," wasn't planning on doing anything. But as soon as we came in, he was just like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like just reached out, he shook my hand, like looks you right in the eye, that's how we're doing. And then he just like he grabbed both of us, was like, "All right, let's do this," because we didn't have a pose really. We just wanted to, like, all right, we're just gonna do something simple.
We're kind of doing like the Force. Like doing the Jedi mind trick, kind of,
Yeah, but he was super nice. I mean, like his was real quick. We didn't get to really say anything.
I mean, he said, "Hi, how are you? Have a good day." Like that's
that was basically it. And I'll admit, I was a little frozen. Like I had like I don't even remember what it was, but I had like a quick thing I was gonna say.
Yeah,
but I didn't.
Yeah,
because I mean, the cool thing about this picture, I don't know if anybody cares about this but me, but the lightsaber that was hanging on my hip, I actually didn't put it back. I forgot. But it's one of those telescoping lightsabers that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's just neat to me. Like it's scuffed, it's scratched. Like
the one from when you were a kid, right?
It's the one from when I was a kid.
I mean, how many battles through Mustafar is that?
Exactly. It's been like there's paint rubbed off of it. It's got like, you could tell where it's been dropped so many times because there's just scuffs, where plastic gets all frayed. And like I used to pretend to be that guy with that lightsaber, and now they get to share a photo together. And I just think that that's stuff like that. Sentimental stuff is really cool to me. So I was like,
No, I'm happy we got it.
Yeah.
Because originally I was saying like, I don't need to be in the picture. And you're like, no, I want you to be in the picture. And like, you had to fight me to like get me into the picture. Yeah. Because I'm just like, it's your thing. You should do it. And you're like, no, I want us both to be there. And so it's cool. And that's a neat picture because we're both dressed up.
Yeah.
For the people at home who can't see us.
Yeah.
I'll
hopefully at some point I'll put the picture up.
Well, I meant that the people that are just
the audio
listening
listeners,
to us. That we're, you're dressed like a Jedi and I'm dressed like Seth Solo, for lack of a better term. I don't know. Yeah.
One day I'll reveal my whole name. I have
Oh, you've got it figured out?
No one knows who my last name is.
Gotcha.
You're Seth Solo.
Yeah.
Well, one day we'll find out.
Konnor Santeca.
Santeca.
Yeah.
I love it. So anyway, I know we chatted about that for a while, but it's kind of our first con, which was really
it's
cool.
Definitely like
one of my first anyway.
And also kind of our first thing, not only is Beyond the Dune Sea, but first thing that we've ever really done like that together.
Yeah.
So,
and I can see me personally, I get it. Like I enjoy conventions anyway, the few I've gone, but I've never gone to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I usually go, I run the vendor floor and I leave.
Yeah.
I usually get a day pass.
Mm-hmm.
That's always what I've done. Like even when I went with my wife, that's basically what we did. We just like, because she doesn't really have any interest in all that stuff.
Yeah.
We kind of walked celebrity row. She was like, hey, there's Anthony Daniels. James John Rhys Davies. Cool. And
was his line still really long?
It was. Anthony Daniels wasn't. I almost went and said hi to him.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of later in the day and there was maybe 7 people in the line still.
Okay.
And Hera had no line.
Really?
What's her name?
I don't know.
The voice actress who plays Hera.
Yeah.
She had no line by that point.
Gotcha.
It was vastly different from day one.
Yeah.
Because day one, it was...
Day two. Because we were the second day. Because it was there on Friday.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah, we were there on Saturday.
Saturday was packed.
It's hopping.
They had made, I didn't tell you, they made an announcement at the panel because they had a panel. Hayden and Rosario had a panel. I recorded it. I might post it. I think I'm going to post it to channel members and then I might make it unlisted. It's not good quality, but you can hear what they're saying. And I don't want it to be like, on the forefront of our page. But if you're interested in it, maybe by next week, I'll have a link up. If I make it unlisted, I'll make a post on YouTube so you can click on it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be something you'll be able to find on our page. So just like look on that link. And at the beginning of that panel, I said it was the biggest convention that ever happened in Indianapolis, which I've been to Gen Con before, which is also in Indianapolis. And that, as far as I know, is the biggest convention. And so it beat that record.
Wild.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, and you felt it on Saturday. It was,
no. I mean, it was you were
packed.
bumping shoulders and you were, there was definitely some spots where it was like, this is getting messy.
I was stuck at a stoplight to park for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was insane. So anyway, that's the convention.
Yeah.
Just a little reminder for you guys, PopCon, which is also in Indianapolis, a lot of Indianapolis talk.
Yeah.
End of April, we will be there.
Yeah.
But we're not just attending. Again, that's all we can say right now. As soon as
we're
we
going to
can
be
say more,
involved with the festivities.
as soon as we can, and if you're a Star Wars fan, I'll just say you might enjoy what we have to offer. But we'll keep you guys posted on that when we can talk about it, because we're itching. I want to say it so bad, but we can't. So, what everybody's here for? Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch doc.
The Harbinger.
The Harbinger.
Hit me with your 1 minute review. What do you got?
Okay. I thought this episode was just okay. I thought that there was some one cool moment, and then the rest of it, I honestly was thinking, why is this happening? I felt like it was definitely one of the weaker, if not the weakest episode this season. I'll be honest. Looking at it got to look at all of it. Got to look at those peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we didn't even really get a whole lot of good character moments. We got some good Omega character moments, but that was, I mean, that's basically all I have to say. I mean, we'll get into the nitty gritty and I'll explain myself. How about you?
I cannot believe you would have such a dastardly opinion. Asajj Ventress is back.
Asajj?
I'm with you. This might be my least favorite episode of the season. I don't think it is, because there are moments I really liked from this episode.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I'm kind of like...
It served no purpose.
It's very weird to me. And again, we'll get into it. But like I said, individual moments, I'm like, heck yeah. But as a whole, I'm like, I'm left with more questions than answers, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I'll leave it with this caveat that depending on the direction they go with what is going on in the story, I could look back at this and be like, oh, okay, I see how that fit into the puzzle.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm like, I'm with you. I'm like, I think this was one of the weaker entries. And it really just felt like, to me, that episode of Book of Boba Fett with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. Involving that celebrity character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. But at the end of the day, I'm like,
how does this help?
How does it? Yeah. This kind of adds nothing. I mean, it did add something in Book of Boba Fett's case, but not in a way I liked. But
it almost feels like that episode with Mando, though.
That's a better example, is that it's like, okay, we got to tell this little side story. And what's funny is people have joked about this. I know some of our friends have joked about it, that we would get our Asajj Ventress episode would be the Book of Boba Fett episode where they're like doing the Dark Disciple thing. But it's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Okay, well, let's dive in. Speaking of Dark Disciple, talking about Ventress.
Yeah.
So I actually, as a character, I liked her a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
She was the standout moment, obviously, because the whole episode centered around her.
Yeah. This
was definitely the same character from Dark Disciple.
Oh, definitely. And two, they used the same character design that they were going to use for Dark Disciple. She even had the snake on her shoulder pad that for some reason has a yellow lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's curious, because if you've read the book, which we have our video, check it out.
Yeah.
If you have not been able to tell, we're not so hot on that book, but there we do talk about it.
Yeah.
And she loses her yellow lightsaber at one point.
She's using a green one.
Yeah, and she's using a green one the rest of the Quinlan's, the whole rest of the book. I assumed she went and found this, but I think I didn't take a close look at it. But I remember from the trailer, I believe this was her Sith lightsaber.
Yeah, I was going to say the handle's curved. Yeah, I mean, she only has it out for
a brief moment.
Yeah, then not very long.
So
a moment that's in the trailer.
Yeah, that's another thing. Once again, we're left with the trailer. I hate it more and more as the season goes on.
Now we are completely out of footage that was in that first trailer, though.
No, not.
Oh, except for the stuff on the bridge.
The Juggernaut stuff.
Yes, that is it. But
I really don't like that trailer, especially if this is all we get of Ventress, which I'm not sure that we will get more. Maybe we will.
I think she's going to show up at the end.
It could be, yes. Yeah. But everything in that trailer that we saw here, I'm like, was that really worth hyping up as your stinger in the trailer?
Yeah.
It was just to get butts in seats because you're like, oh, Star Wars character coming back, crazy.
Yeah.
But the other thing about Dark Disciple is I think it's clear that they used animation that was meant to be for those episodes in this. Like we talked about that before, like other.
I was going to say the way they fought, it didn't feel as smooth.
In the fist fight?
Yeah, some of those fist fight movements.
Really?
I felt like, but granted, when she grabbed her lightsaber, I noticed the dust and everything. I'm like, okay, all right, that's looking good. But some of the movements, I was like, man, this looks like early Clone Wars, where it's a little jittery.
Wow, I could not disagree more. But we'll get to the fight. It's just interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
When I say reused animation, I mean like how we got Hunter versus Cad Bane, which was almost shot for shot the same stuff as Boba Fett versus Cad Bane from Clone Wars, and then the stuff from Kashyyyk from some unused arcs from season 2. And here, when they go fight that creature in the water, that's definitely the scene of the sleeper because I'm pretty sure there was some previs for that.
Oh, okay.
So I think that they just retooled the fight with the sleeper from Dark Disciple to be this fight because it's way too similar not to be. It's got the tentacles.
Yes,
it looks very similar as it's described in the book.
Yeah.
And so that makes me wonder if they're going to continue that throughout the season or in maybe a Tales from the Jedi, because I think that she is definitely a potential for a Tales of the Jedi story.
Like a short story.
Yeah, about how she came back.
Yeah.
So the one thing though about her that I really I liked her characterization a lot, but in regard to the Bad Batch, I like the parallel between her and Crosshair, like the narrative parallel.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
The internet's going wild with that.
Yeah.
Him grabbing her hand and pulling her onto the ship. Have you not seen that?
No.
Oh, Tumblr's running with that.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Quinlan's out, huh?
I guess Crosshair's in.
No, I liked when Crosshair was sitting on the ship and he's telling Omega how naive she is for believing in that Ventress could be redeemed. And then she's like, dude.
You were. Or I believed in you.
Come on now. And he's like, you got me there, like, I don't know how I'd reply to that.
Yeah.
I like the parallel of that. Like the Batch is, they only know one thing and it's being soldiers and she was an enemy in the war, but Crosshair is a living example that people can come back.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great way to telegraph to the audience that, this is a Ventress who is redeemed.
She's grown.
Or is getting there. Cause she's still mean, but she's definitely a light side user these days.
I was going to say, well, I don't know. She's force choking people.
That's true. She is kind of dabbling in both.
Yeah. A gray Jedi.
A gray Jedi, if you will.
I hate that phrase, but
right, yeah. I think that it's neat to see that she's not
reformed dark Jedi.
Well, she's not just, benevolent Jedi now, who's come into the world. And it's also a nice thing for people who haven't read the book. Yeah. To start to give you this idea that, no, she's okay now. She's getting there. Because when we last see her in Clone Wars, she's on that path. Mm-hmm. She's starting to become better because we last see her as season 5, I believe.
She's all the way back then, right?
No, the last we see her, I believe, is with Ahsoka.
Okay.
When she runs into
Ahsoka. And they're all cornered and everything, and they have to fight their way out.
Yeah. And then obviously we get Dark Disciple, and now we're here. Yeah. Which I said it in our stream, but she was the best part of that book, in my opinion. Yeah. And this is definitely the same person. So I like that she feels very consistent. Yeah. And kind of interesting where she could go. I guess let's talk about that fight for a second, because you're a little on the.
Well, what about you? You could say what you want, or do you want me to go first?
I actually thought, again, I love moments of this episode, like isolated moments. I thought it was one of the best animated fight scenes we've seen. Okay. I thought, it's funny because you said the opposite. I thought it was really
smooth. So it was like the Black Widow takedown. I thought looked kind of jittery, and then her doing her elbow drop to Wrecker.
I loved that. You didn't like that?
Well, again, how it looked, I thought it looked like early Clone Wars. I didn't think it looked as smooth as other things that we've seen. Okay. Yeah. So that's all I was getting at. That I'm not getting at the. I'm not knocking the moves she was doing or anything like that. I will say, though, I feel like our boys should have put up a little bit more of a fight. Yeah. Yeah. That I'm just like, what? Like, how powerful are all Jedi then in comparison? Because, like, these aren't normal guys. Heck, these aren't even normal clones. Yeah. These are augmented clones. And it made them seem kind of worthless. That, like, at the end of the day, where it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe being with them isn't the best answer. should she be with Asajj Ventress?
Well,
or
there's
should
not that many Force users out there, though.
I mean, plenty of Force users survived the Purge.
I know, but how many of them would be after Omega? Like 2.
I know, but still.
Yeah.
2 really important ones.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if you're asking those questions about like if Vader's coming after Omega, the batch doesn't stand a chance there either.
No, I know. And I thought that I just felt like, especially like Hunter, I just wanted to see her be a little winded. Like it looked like she was just toying with all of them.
I thought Crosshair got a few blows on her.
Yeah, but nothing. It didn't slow her down at all. It looked like she just toyed with them.
I guess.
And I'm like, dude, it's 3-on-1. And they're brothers, man. They like know how to fight. They know and again, it's just the augmented, because it's like, wait, so they're clones of Jango Fett, and then they're augmented clones of Jango Fett. So they should be getting up there in like the, the power scaling. Cause it's like, wait, is Han Solo like just nothing? Just a guy? I mean,
I think that it's a twofold thing. Like on one hand, there's not a lot of stakes to this fight.
No.
And I think the batch kind of know that, but also from a writing standpoint, what would be gained by having them land some blows on her? I don't know. But then on the other side of it, I think that Force users do have quite a bit of power scaling above even augmented clones, because you put the batch against anybody.
Jango Fett is a Jedi killer.
I know.
And that's why I'm kind of like,
but then there's also, it's Asajj Ventress. She's not just your run of the mill Force user. She's taken down Jedi Masters.
Who?
Well, in Dark Disciple, she took down Quinlan's master. And she goes toe-to-toe with Anakin and Obi-Wan many times.
Yeah, she holds her own, and I get that the batch couldn't fight them.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, but she's still like,
I guess what I'm saying is like, if you put, I'm going to get so much hate for this. If you put the Bad Batch against like an Ezra, or even like a Kanan, I think that Ventress is quite a bit more powerful than those people.
Yeah.
I think the batch could hold their own against less skilled Force users, not to denigrate people like Ezra and Kanan, but to elevate someone like Ventress, because she was trained by Dooku.
Yeah.
Then she kind of found her own path. She's also a Night Sister.
Yeah.
I just think that, I don't know, she's pretty up there. I think there are a few Force users that could be.
I guess I just didn't realize that apparently Asajj Ventress is that powerful. And, again, I assumed the because a couple episodes ago I talked about how Vader would own all of them.
Yeah,
but I would think that the 3 of them working as a unit should be, should be able to deal with something.
Yeah.
Apparently they can't deal with her. So yeah.
Well, there's also, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, I get you. Again, I just felt like, we've been following them for 3 seasons. I've hoped that they've like leveled up, even like, cause they already were like, the Clone Force 99. They're like we send them in to go deal with the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay. They can't even, Asajj Ventress can't even go after a renegade Jedi.
No, I get you.
Yeah. So, but it was cool that the theme music played.
I was about to say, did you like that?
Yes. It was
So
cool
I'm a
to have
sucker for that.
all 3 of them fighting and then having the theme music going.
I'm a sucker for that. I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you think of it? Were you?
That was pretty much my only thought. Is I loved the theme. I'm a big fan of doing something like that.
Yeah,
felt like a callback to season 1, the finale,
mm-hmm.
but also in a kind of sad way because the whole team's not there anymore.
Yeah. Did you notice people were pointing out on the internet that like how they were all standing, that like there is a space between Hunter and there's a space between Hunter and Crosshair, and they're like,
interesting.
Maybe Echo's going to go back here, and I'm like, or like they're leaving space for Echo to come back, and I'm like,
they're leaving space for Tech because they were used to.
Sorry, not Echo. Sorry, Tech. My bad. They're leaving space for Tech, and I'm just like, no, guys.
I think we're too far in the season for them to do that.
He can't. No.
Yeah.
Guys, so yeah, that is just it's fine.
I become more confident as we go, because it's like, I think if they were going to do the Tech thing, you have to do it earlier. You have to start setting that up,
sowing seeds for it.
I would be very disappointed if they just all of a sudden are like, hey, Clone X, the CX2 or whatever his name is, it's Tech. So kind of into like the big meat of this episode, because realistically, not a lot happened in this episode, which is kind of one of my gripes.
Yeah,
is Omega Force sensitive? I thought we had this nailed down.
Yeah. I still think no.
I still think no too, but this is
Because you could make a case that like Asajj is lying or whatever, but I still don't think that.
well, but here's the thing though. She doesn't give a definitive answer. And this
No.
is my ultimate issue with this episode, why I
Yeah.
didn't like it. If you're going to bring a character like Ventress in, they do it clearly to set up, or they do it to try to answer some questions about Omega. But then they don't do that. They muddy the waters.
Yeah.
And that is so confusing to me narratively why they would do that. I have a couple maybe theories on that, but because I think if you're good, I think one potential solution, or not solution, but reason maybe you'd bring a Ventress into this is to put it to bed. Like, Omega's not force sensitive. That's not why the Empire is after her.
Mhm.
She can answer the M count question about, that's midichlorians, which
Yeah.
she does.
Yeah.
She tells the batch. That's the most meaningful thing that happens in this episode.
Yep. She uses the word metachlorian
Yeah. And she tells them about
and
that.
explains what they are. Yeah.
But then, again, I don't know the rest of the season, so maybe it's all going to make sense. But in my opinion, if she's not force sensitive, just put it to bed now.
Yeah.
And she kind of does.
But kind
Sort
of
of.
doesn't.
And that's what I thought was happening at the end. I was actually like, okay, because she says to Hunter and Wrecker, or Hunter Crosshair, like, yeah, she didn't pass the ENIGMA test, so I don't know. But then they're like, but wait, you're lying about something. And then she kind of backtracks a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm like, was the point of this episode to get that question, to start begging the question? If so, then okay, does that mean that they're picking that up later? Because they absolutely have to pick it up later now
That's the point.
in some way.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing about this that is confusing to me, Ventress is wrong, because she is talking about, like the Empire is after high M count people and
Yeah.
you're one of them. That's not what we learned earlier. We learned earlier it's that her blood can take that transfusion of M count, of midichlorians.
Yeah.
And that's why the Empire is after her.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And now the audience knows that, where the audience is in a position where we know that information, but our characters don't. So character-wise, it makes sense that Asajj would assume that then the Empire is after Omega for the same reason as all the other characters. I get that, but that's a weird thing, in my opinion, to write, because you're left with a situation where your characters know less than the audience.
Yeah.
And it's not a situation where you're like, oh, okay, I can't wait for them to find out this information, because that's what's been happening so far. Is you're like, oh man, I know what's going on, but I can't, what's the batch going to do when they know?
Yeah.
But now they get an answer, but it's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And so,
And it's weird too that, like, why didn't she just go answer the question? That it's like, okay, you need to, prick the finger, figure out what's going on.
maybe she can't.
Well, but then why was she doing these weird kind of Jedi tests where,
Well, to test
reach
her-
out with your feelings?
To test if she could access the Force.
Huh. Well, I mean, again, about, like, she even was talking about that. She explains how metachlorians work.
Yeah, and she explained that even if you do have an IM count,
That
doesn't
you
mean
have
anything.
that you have a high M count, it doesn't really even mean anything. So that's what I'm getting at, is like, why not get the sure thing? Like, let's figure this out.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It
I
is.
think that it's just very unclear in its conclusions, and not in a way that is making me excited to learn more, but in a way that I'm frustrated because I know the answer. I don't know if Omega's force sensitive, but as an audience member, I know why the Empire's after her.
Yeah.
We don't know what makes her special, but we know that her blood can take these M count transfers, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing we know, that the characters don't, and they get wrong information. And it's just, it's weird. It's like, it's the crisscrossing. Like, it's hard to even talk about, because it's like, well, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know where they're going with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know
And
if they're
especially
gonna,
since now we're more than halfway through it.
Yeah.
And up until now, this has been really solid stuff. This
Yeah.
has made sense. I feel like this is honestly like the first like misstep, basically.
And all that to say, it may not be a misstep. Maybe we get a few more episodes in and it's like, oh, okay. That's where they were going with that.
Yeah.
But right now, as far as where I'm at in my mind, I'm like, I don't get it. I'm left with more questions and answers. Yeah. So realistically, I think the point of this episode and the point of showing a lot of that stuff, maybe Omega is force sensitive, and we'll get that later. I kind of had a joke theory on a few episodes back that she might have like a force stem, where she takes like some midichlorians and like and juices herself up so that she could use the force.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd happen in that way, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe there's a situation where she's like, okay, I really have to use the Force with this. You know, like everybody's in dire straits. Maybe it's a situation with animals. They go back to Tantas. Actually, that's maybe something that could happen.
So you
We
can
know
save
that-
all the other
We know there's
creatures.
a lot of,
Yeah.
well, she uses those creatures to save the batch.
Yeah.
She like reaches out in the forest and brings all those creatures, like all the other, I forget what Batcher is, but whatever they
Yeah.
are.
Well, I was thinking even too, the other creatures that Batcher has to go
Yeah.
fend off. Yeah.
So maybe she has to do that. And
Mhm.
that's the purpose behind this. But even still, I want to bring up something that Katie, Duel the Kates, mentioned last week during our live stream, that Omega is a clone, and she has really based a lot of her identity on being a clone, being a member of the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And she even says in this episode, like, am I a Jedi? That would be a weird choice to
Yeah.
take her and say,
Just make her a Jedi.
just make her a Jedi or a Force user.
Yeah.
You know, when her whole identity has been about being part of this group.
Mhm.
Maybe what they're doing is telling a story about, like, it's time to grow up.
Yeah.
You know, and she has to leave that group.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they die. Maybe because the Bad Batch dies. We've been speculating about that for a long time. Maybe
I still feel like that she has to go too, so all that research gets destroyed or
It's
whatever.
a
Yeah.
big question about all that.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a story about how she needs to separate, and maybe being a Jedi is how she separates.
Yeah.
But even if that is the case, it's like we've heard this story before.
Yeah.
It's like it's Grogu all over again.
It's true.
It's we've heard this
Well,
story.
it's Luke. I was going to say, leaving behind, being a kid, leaving behind everything you know to
Yeah, but
join the wizard and learn about this mystical force.
But with Luke, we didn't know him before.
No,
you
but
get
I
to
mean,
meet him, and then he has to set off on this unknown journey.
Yeah.
We've gotten to know Omega. She's part of the. We know her identity,
yeah,
and then to just say, "Hey, this is what you have to become."
yeah,
If that's the route they're going, I have confidence in the writers that they will.
oh, I think
Do
they can
something
still
that I-
stick the landing.
No, I
just-
absolutely do
yeah.
too. I'm just voicing out loud my sort of skepticism and like my criticism right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I still have a lot of confidence. I'm always a big proponent. Like, wait till it's over. Wait till you
Yeah.
have the whole puzzle. Because
Yeah.
maybe these are the questions the writers want you to be asking. Maybe they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we want you confused right now.
Mhm.
I want you to. This is all what we want you to be doing.
Yeah.
The reason I have a little bit of cynicism is because I think that realistically, the point of this is it's a soft pilot for whatever they want to do with Ventress later.
Yeah, backdoor pilot.
Backdoor pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the episode with Ahsoka and the Mandalorian
Yeah,
was just a backdoor pilot for her own show.
yep.
And so this is ultimately,
Or maybe a Tales of the Jedi arc or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
yeah. And I think that all the speculation we're doing and talking about why they're doing certain things, I think that's probably the reason.
Yeah.
I think it all is coming down to they're going to do something. And so I guess the next question is Omega's future with Ventress? Because Ventress does bring that up. She's like,
yeah. You should be hanging out with me.
yeah, we sow the seeds that she might be force sensitive. She
Yeah.
also, this is the first time so far that we have been given seeds planted of
Her going somewhere else.
her being separated from the batch in some way.
Yeah. Well, especially by wanting to go somewhere else. Like,
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Of her own accord. Yeah.
And I think that that's interesting because she tells the batch that, like, hey, she can't be with you guys forever.
Yeah.
And maybe that's spelling out their deaths. Maybe it's spelling out separation of some kind. I just
Yeah.
don't think you drop that for no reason.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting is we know from the Obi-Wan show about the Path, who's involved with the Path.
Quinlan
Voss.
Voss.
Admiral Enigma himself is
Yeah.
involved in the Path.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if Ventress is a big part of that too.
Yes.
So
maybe
maybe-
later though, because that's still pretty far down the.
Yeah, it's 5 years. 5
Yeah.
years down the road from
Mhm.
where, well, maybe a little longer. We kind of are still unsure where this takes place, but
Yeah.
maybe that's the new show. It's about Ventress and it's about Omega. It's called The Path.
Yeah.
And they just go around. She's got her clone expertise. She's the soldier. Ventress is dark,
The dark disciple.
dark disciple. No,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say dark Jedi. She's
Yeah.
the Sith assassin turned dark Jedi,
Yeah. Night
And they
Sister.
start-
Yeah.
and they start helping people on the path.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next series because we know. I mean, they're not done. They're going to do something. This animation team, they were hiring a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they're going to be doing something. Maybe
Yeah.
that's it. If that's the case, just a little wish list thing here. I think this would be fun. Like a Batman Beyond type show where like give us some time. Like give us
Fast forward.
Yeah. Ventress is an older character
Yeah.
and Omega is like the Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the story you tell.
That'd be cool.
I think it's fun. I
Yeah.
think it's a fun idea where she's like the jaded old master, like
Mhm.
Bruce is in that, where he's just kind of grumpy the whole time.
I love Batman Beyond. I love Mask of Zorro. Give me all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'd be down with that. I
Mhm.
think that's kind of fun. But yeah, so not like I said, not a ton to talk about with this episode.
Yeah. I feel like it was
Just-
it was all spectacle, not a lot of substance.
Yeah, and it's also kind of a one location piece,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like it all took place in either that cave or out in the water,
Yeah.
which I guess we didn't say. But that water scene, I like that a lot.
Yeah. Them fighting the big squid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was a big moment for Asajj, where she goes up to the
Yeah.
creature. Because in Dark Disciple,
Yes.
we see her take that snake, manipulate that snake, and then kill it
Yeah.
as a lesson to Quinlan.
Yeah.
And here, she's a little bit closer to being that good person. She calms the animal.
At least using her powers for good rather than just, snapping its neck and calling it a day.
Ventress is a cool character. I like her more and more the more I see of her, more I read of her, even though I don't like the book that much. I've said it a million times now. I think she was the best part of it.
Yeah.
Her characterization was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that we're seeing more of that. And I'm excited to see more because we know the voice actress has been out saying, hey, this is just the beginning.
Oh yeah. This is
just
only
the
the
beginning.
beginning. Yeah.
So I'm
It'd
down
be
with
really
that.
weird. Do you think so? Over under, she's showing back up again?
In this show,
Yeah. Or is
Boy.
that it? She just flies off.
I think that this could easily be it with her. I think if not, my speculation is we see her very last episode as part of a stinger ending,
Yeah.
leading us into whatever's next.
Gotcha.
But because I think, they have all but outright said it that she's where animation is going next.
Yeah.
Something with her.
Yeah.
Which I'm cool with. I like her a lot. I
Mhm.
think that there's stories to be told.
Yeah.
With that character. It was funny when I was listening to the panel with Rosario and Hayden. They were asked who their favorite characters were besides their own.
Yeah.
And Rosario said Asajj was hers.
Huh.
And she said that she researched that character a lot when she was learning about Ahsoka because of the dual lightsabers and how she wielded her dual lightsabers as well as how Ahsoka wielded hers.
Yeah.
And that she really liked the story behind this character, like the redemptive nature of this character. And she even said, she's like, I got the short hair now. She's like, I'd shave it in a second to cosplay Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see that.
Yeah.
Maybe Rosario will cosplay Asajj Ventress.
Mhm.
Hayden said Ahsoka was his. He was playing his audience. a little
Oh,
bit.
well, look at that.
So,
Snips.
yeah. He has such a dry sense of humor. It's so funny to listen to him because
Yeah.
there was one point the interviewer was telling Rosario like, oh, so I heard you have a comic book line and you really like comic books. And she was like, yeah, I love comic books, talking all about that. And how she has her own comic book.
Yeah.
And talked for like 5-10 minutes about it. And then and Hayden was like, you have a comic book? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, huh, how do I not know about that? And she's like, well, I just found out you have a clothing line. And he's like, yeah. And she was like, he designed the jacket he's wearing. And the interviewer was like, you designed that jacket? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I like the buttons. Thanks. I did it myself. And he's like, so where can we find this somewhere? No. And that's all he said. He just
That was
left
it?
That's all he said.
He's a clothing line.
Well, he talked about it earlier a little
Yeah.
bit, and he said that it was a clothing line he did in Canada like 10 years ago.
Oh, and he still has clothing from it?
Yeah, because he as far as I understand, he did it himself. Like he actually designed the clothes himself. He didn't just put his name on it.
And then he made them himself, you think?
I don't know. He said he made the jacket he was wearing, but it was just funny because he was just like, no, and just left it at that.
Huh.
It's very dry sense of humor. It's really
Okay.
funny to listen to him.
Yeah.
Because Rosario just kind of go on about things, and she's
Yeah.
like, she's got a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and
She's
then,
bubbly and fun.
and then Hayden's just like, huh, interesting.
Okay.
It's fun. Hopefully
Yeah.
I'll get that interview up so people can watch it. But
Mhm.
yeah, so that's kind of all I got to say about this episode.
Yeah.
They did sort of half address somehow Ventress returned there at the end.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they didn't go super deep into it because none of these characters would know or care.
Yeah, and
how she
it
came back.
doesn't really pertain to this, so why would you tell
But
about that? Yeah.
I do think that it was necessary to do something. And
Well, as far as the audience knows, she's still out there. You know what I mean?
Well,
That,
but-
like the people that didn't read the book. That's what I'm saying.
there were people who read the book.
I
though.
know there
And
were some people that read the book,
so-
but a lot of people didn't.
So I think it's good that they said something, and she
Acknowledged
was
it.
like, "Yeah, I still have a few lives left."
Yeah.
Not a very satisfactory answer, but it's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough until we see that, because again, the voice actors have said we'll see that story just at a
Mhm.
later date.
It's interesting.
She's saying
that
a
she
little-
even said that.
Yeah, she's saying a little much, but they actually published that on StarWars.com. So
What?
that interview with her.
Oh, I was just talking about the whole, like, I still have a few lives left. Like, who's that remind you of? Who's another character in fiction that reminds you of?
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, like Catwoman.
Oh,
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
Ventress
and
has always
Ventress
been-
reminds me of, like, Catwoman.
she's always
yeah.
been that kind of like,
Yeah.
femme fatale type
Yes.
character that
Mhm.
Catwoman's like.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm in a weird place with this episode where I really liked parts of it.
Yeah.
I really liked moments of it. Like that scene in the water is a standout moment from the season for me.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot, but
Mhm.
just as an episode, yeah, it's kind of one of the weaker ones.
Yeah.
So let's rank it.
Yeah. Well, we
We-
didn't even rank
we
last
didn't
week's.
rank last
I
week's.
know.
We
We
forgot.
forgot on the live stream.
Yeah, all the TK troopers were attacking us when we
Yeah.
forgot. So episode 8 from last week.
Yeah. Swamp.
Yeah.
Gators in the bayou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space Louisiana.
Space, Louisiana.
I'm here with this. I'd almost go high C.
You think it's the worst?
It's my least favorite this season so far.
Last week's.
Last week's. I really liked the stuff with Omega and Crosshair, but like as a
Yeah.
package, I actually thought, I mentioned this last week, I thought the animation was the weakest in that episode.
Gotcha. You can put it high C. And then I think this week's is right above it, low B.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So you can keep the running total. There we go.
There it is. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And like I said, with this episode, as we go on with the season, I know we're not usually like this. We're just so down on it, but
Yeah.
as the season goes on, maybe it's maybe we look back and like, you know what? I can see
Yeah.
can
I
see
see the
tea
vision
leaves.
now.
it's not going to stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next week we got another dual drop.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, another double episode drop.
That's exciting.
It's Identity Crisis and one other. So I wonder if that'll either be about Crosshair or Omega
Yeah.
at this point.
Something about clones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exciting. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
But now, I think it's time to hear from you guys.
The fans.
Clear your mind of questions.
All right, fan questions.
Woo woo.
Before we get into those, a couple quick things. Will DiamondFigs, I was on his show, a new series, where he gets with creators and talks about their favorite scene in Star Wars. And it just so happened that my favorite scene is his favorite scene too, which is the I am a Jedi, like my father before me in Return of the Jedi. Love that scene. We talked for about an hour about that. It's really cool. He's doing something really neat with that. I'm very honored to be the first one that was on there.
I heard there was a lot of backlash.
Yeah, so Will made a couple reels from that, and one of them was about my only critique about that scene. And I even say that in the video. It's like, this is my only critique.
Yeah.
And it's when Vader falls onto the rail.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were misinterpreting what I was saying, that I didn't think it was appropriate for him to fall on the rail. A lot of people, that reel got a lot of views, and a lot of people were like, he's an old man. He of course he's going to do that. He's in a suit of armor. He's like half machine. He's being overpowered by Luke. I know that. I wasn't complaining, or I wasn't even complaining. It was just a silly thing we pointed out. Not saying that he shouldn't have fell on the rail. It's how he does it. It's like, it's always something I've noticed is that it looks like he grabs the rail before he actually needs to. It's like in the actor's mind, he was like, oh shoot, I got to grab the rail. That's right. That's how it felt to me.
Man.
That's all I was saying, but it's a great combo. Check
Mhm.
that out. Leave a mean comment about how I was wrong about the rail. Spoken like two men who have never been in a fight.
Is that what someone said?
That's what one of the comments was. It was fun.
Wow.
Dude, there were some mean
Oh
ones.
no,
in there.
I
There were
heard.
some,
I heard about you guys.
lots of hidden comments on that one.
Was he hiding them, or was Instagram hiding them?
Instagram automatically does it a lot.
Gotcha. How do you unhide a comment? Is that possible?
Yeah, you can just hit unhide.
Okay.
I have to do that all the time because
'Cause
Instagram will
sometimes-
flag
I know.
comments that are like,
Someone wrote, "This is where the fun begins," and they hit it.
oh, on one of ours?
Yeah.
I must have missed that. I usually unhide them.
I was gonna say it was on that picture, and I was just kind of like,
Oh.
"Well, that's weird." That's yeah.
I'll unhide that
You should.
later. we have that all the time where I'll see like, hidden comments. And then it's just like, you guys are cool. And I'm like, why is that hidden?
Yeah.
So fan questions.
Woo!
I know this episode's been a little jumbled. We talked for a long time about ICC, and then we interrupted the fan segment with this. So just to run with it.
Just hanging out with us.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Yeah.
So to get involved with the fan questions, every week I post a prompt on Instagram on Wednesday morning, at least when the Bad Batch is running. I usually post them on Tuesday when there's not a running show. Asking you guys your thoughts, usually on Bad Batch or on whatever you'd like to ask us.
Yeah.
This week, got some fun ones.
Cool.
First one, Josh Freiss. Will the rest of Grogu's backstory be revealed in the Mando movie? I assume this was spurned on because I made a little reel about my Grogu theory from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so. I've got a hot take about that. That I think that we see that Ahmad Best Jedi character, they're getting on a Naboo ship. Where is a certain Sith Lord from? I think that it's all planned. That like he knows,
okay.
that like unfortunately he's going into a trap, basically. That Palpatine knows he needs Grogu's blood for later.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's a possibility, or maybe it's I still think a Jar Jar connection is possible. I think that that's a fun way to bring him back.
Yeah.
They'd really have to, that's a tightrope.
Yep.
But I think that'd be neat to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I think they're winding down Mando with all the Disney Plus issues. Although I don't know, they just rolled literally today as we're recording this, they rolled everything into Hulu. So maybe this is a revival. Did you see that?
About what? What do you mean?
Hulu is now officially part of the Disney Plus app.
Oh, okay.
I
know that it changed colors.
Yeah, that's why.
It's like greenish. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and I was going to say, I mean, X-Men's awesome. If you're not watching X-Men 97, worth your time. I'm like, so I know that there's stuff that they're making for Disney Plus that is good.
There's a lot of great stuff. It's
Yeah.
just, unfortunately, it's not making money.
Yeah.
It hasn't been for a while, but maybe this is the start of a revival.
Yeah.
Some better fiscal decisions being made.
Yeah.
But
is the Hulu app going away?
I
or
don't
is
know.
just
I don't know
all
all
the
the details
stuff?
about it.
Okay.
I think everything. I think everything's being rolled into Disney Plus.
Crazy.
So I know it had been the rumor for a long time.
Yeah.
But now it's official. Oh, Greg Foskett, 2 questions. What do you think Omega's true purpose was behind her creation? We'll answer that one first. That's a great question. That is the question.
Yeah.
Why did Nala say create her? I think there's a couple options.
Well, I think one, she was an accident. I don't think that she was trying to create her.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing, because we get this comment all the time when we talk about her being an unaltered clone, is people like, well, she's not unaltered because she's female. She has to be altered. It's like, well, no, that's not true, because unaltered just means that the Kaminoans did not alter her DNA.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch are mutations that were enhanced.
Yeah.
I think that
And
she
then
is
the normal clones are aged up. They age
Yeah.
fast.
but that's an altered. That's an altered.
They're
part
altered.
Of
Yes.
But I think what happened with Omega was sort of a fluke.
Yes.
So
She's
she
an
was
anomaly.
She was not created that way, and somehow still she was a female. She
Yeah.
was like somehow got the double X.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, how did that happen? We don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting. And then after that point, it was like the Bad Batch, where then certain aspects of her were enhanced, because Nala Se clearly knows about the M count thing.
Yeah.
She was hiding it for a long time.
Yeah.
So it is the question. You know,
Mhm.
why?
Yeah. He had a 2-parter, right? Did we answer both of them?
He did have a 2-parter, but I'll go ahead and read it. And then I'll read, somebody else had basically the same question. Ventress alluded to having lives to spare. What does she mean, and how did she survive? And then Reese's Pieces of Hoodoo says, Ventress's last line of the episode, literal, metaphorical, a little bit of both. So the last line she says was about that having lives. She
Yeah.
still has lives to spare.
Yeah.
How did she survive? I think that it's pretty clear based on the book.
Night sister magic.
Yeah, they lower her into the pool.
Yeah.
And there's some magic that starts to turn green, and
then
Quinlan can hear them say sister.
Yeah.
I think that of all the characters that we make jokes about, like somehow they returned, it makes the most sense with Ventress because of the Night Sister. I mean, they resurrect things all the time.
It was like a Lazarus pit from Batman. If you haven't seen that, brought her back to life.
So I don't hate it. I think that it could be done fine. It is irritating because death has to mean something in Star Wars, and unfortunately we see this all the time. But this is a character where it does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
What does it mean for more lives to spare? I think that was just it. It was a little like, hey, I've
died once.
We haven't forgot about it.
Yeah.
I have died before.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite lines from that movie.
You love that movie.
I do love that movie. JD Macy, does Asajj have Dooku's lightsaber? Is that possible? I don't think so. I think she has her red lightsabers, but has a yellow crystal.
I think that she just has a new curved hilt.
And that could be it too. Well, this is what's weird is that MortisFM is the guy to ask about this. He's the saber guru. But she had her Sith lightsabers that were gifted to her by Dooku. And then you have whatever she's using in Dark Disciple, which she bought off the black market, the yellow lightsaber.
Yeah.
But she loses that lightsaber. But now all of a sudden she has this curved hilt with a yellow lightsaber again.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that much, but it is weird that they look so similar to her lightsabers.
Yeah.
So it's like, did she find her old lightsabers? Or it's
repeat animation.
Yeah. Well, but even then,
or reused animation.
But in the previous animation, she has that other lightsaber.
Oh, okay.
They changed the hilt for some reason, which is weird. Maybe it's because they looked at the book and were like, okay, she loses it, so maybe this is a new lightsaber.
She went and got it back or something.
Matt66801, I would love to see an animated show about Luke's life with Mark Hamill doing the voice. Thoughts? Yeah.
I'm fine with that. That would be cool.
Yep.
Really, I would like them to do the one book that's like all the short stories about Luke Skywalker.
Oh, the Adventures of Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to do like a Tales of the Jedi, but it's like all just these, maybe they happened, maybe they didn't happen. It'd be really cool too to have old Mark Hamill, like introing them like an older Luke Skywalker, like talking about them, and then it like goes back in time.
I'd love that so much.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I want some spotlight on the man.
If I say the name Daniel Warren Johnson, do you know who I'm talking about? Comic book artist. Okay, he did a little Ashkin. It is not Star Wars. It is not in canon. He just did it himself. It's called Old Man Luke, like Old Man Logan. And it's just about Luke Skywalker being an old guy and still like having fight left in him. And he takes on a Dark Jedi on a Star Destroyer.
That's sick.
Yeah, so I'd kind of like
That's awesome.
That would be kind of cool.
Can you like read this?
You can, yeah, it's online. But I was gonna say, but it's like he made it. Like he did his own little Kickstarter for it because again, it's not tied to anything. Yeah. But Daniel Warren Johnson's a good artist. Okay. And so that he's doing all the
got me intrigued. I love me some Luke.
Yeah. So Old Man Luke.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Gabby, about books. Who would you rather assess/train you for Force abilities, Asajj or Ahsoka?
Ahsoka,
100%.
Yeah. Asajj is gonna be mean to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like Ahsoka would probably be mean to me too.
Yeah, a little bit, especially if it's Rosario Ahsoka. She's a little jaded by that point. She is. She'd be reluctant. Maybe not mean, but reluctant.
Yeah. I would be over here like, oh man, I'm going to do the best. And she'd be like, sure, Seth.
If you could, you'd do it.
Exactly.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Exactly. If you could, you'd be done already.
That's so funny. Tales from Tashi Station. He keeps doing some cool stuff over there. He just did a collab with Star Wars Sith 66. Our friend Tony. Doing cool stuff. Go check him out if you haven't already. Do we see more Ventress? Quinlan, maybe. Ventress, absolutely.
Maybe at the end.
Quinlan, I hope not.
Yeah. Get him out of here.
It was funny. I was reading some comments about on a I don't remember if it was on Star Wars YouTube channel or not. It was about Ventress. And people were like, oh man, I can't wait. Well, I hope we see Quinlan at some point. I named my dog Quinlan. I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get the love for him.
I don't get it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
especially,
man.
especially after reading that book.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of got it before the book.
At the
I was
beginning?
like, before we read the book, I was
Yeah.
like, he's cool looking.
Yeah.
I like he's got a cool vibe to him.
Yeah.
And
I even think the first chapter of Dark Disciple is decent, where I'm like, okay, interesting. So he's got this whole shtick,
yeah,
but then like that quickly goes away.
it sure does.
Yeah.
Speaking of Star Wars 66, do you ever imagine we would see Asajj Ventress train test Omega in the Force? Yeah, I actually kind of thought that that's where this. Well, yeah, like we kind of speculated about that. I think in an earlier episode that might be her role in this.
Yeah.
But then we kind of quickly threw that away when we were like, nah, she's not Force sensitive. But hey, circle back around. So
maybe she is.
Before the trailer where we ever knew Asajj was going to be in it, no, we never called that.
No.
But cool. I mean, it's a cool pairing. I like them together. They had good chemistry together, the two characters. Hertel_96. Will we see the return of Commander Wolf? And will he turn against the Empire?
I think he's gotta.
Yes and yes. We know he's got to turn against the Empire.
Well, but I mean, he kind of turns back to the Empire in Rebels. So I think he's always going to be that one guy. Yeah. So I feel like that they're going to drag him out of the fight. Like, I think that he's going to face turn or whatever at the end in the final battle, like I said.
Or maybe he just so happens to find himself in the company of Rex and Gregor.
Yeah.
And the fight sort of, the clone uprising, everybody just gets killed. There's just so much chaos and carnage that he's just like, I got no choice but to go with you guys.
Yeah. But still kind of loyal to the Empire.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Because he called them for, as he feared the Jedi wanted revenge.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So I mean, we absolutely see him again, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's no way we don't. Especially on
because he's got to get together with Gregor and Rex.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And then last question from Owen_Anderson_4. If you created your own Star Wars story, what would it be about?
Oh my gosh.
I've got an answer if you're still thinking.
Yeah, you can go first.
So this was a short film I attempted to make before. Once you know about this.
Yeah.
If I can find it, I'll put some of the finished clips up on screen. But I wrote a script about Luke's lightsaber. So if you remember the original opening to The Force Awakens.
Yeah. Falls into the dirt.
Yeah, it was
the sand.
It was Luke's with the hand still attached, floating through space, and it enters the atmosphere. The hand burns away, and then the saber crashes. That was the original opening to that movie. Pretty wild imagery to open a Star Wars movie. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I kind of took that concept, and I was like, I want to tell the story of how this got to Maz Kanata, the story for another time. And so it was a story of it just landed in a random field, and this farmer found it. And he had no idea what it was. And so he just used it as a tool during his farming.
Yeah.
So he was like cutting fruit and like chopping down bamboo trees, like all this stuff. But over time, like he just suddenly was like little by little had affinities with the Force. The idea being that like objects can carry this spirit of the people who carry or who wielded it, you know?
Yeah.
And by the end of the film, he gets like the Empire or the First Order is there. So it's Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
All these TIE fighters. And he's had enough practice with the saber at this point where he's like fighting off the TIEs. Yeah. He has a dream right before that. It was a pretty cool scene that we filmed where he keeps hearing something in the woods. He's like trying to catalog some stuff, and he keeps hearing something in the woods. And then he sees a red lightsaber in the woods, and he grabs the saber. But as soon as he does, he's on Cloud City. Another idea borrowed from Force Awakens. But then he like wakes up, and that's when the Empire gets there.
Yeah.
And it ended with him going to Takodana, and like the last shot is you just see him hand it to an orange hand.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out how to do that part. That's mainly why I stopped the film, because everything else we filmed the entire thing.
Yeah.
Except for that last part. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
So I guess I could talk about this. I don't know if this is actually what I would do. Because I don't know. I did write a Star Wars movie about like, where a Jedi or a Force master trains one student on one side of the planet to be the light side, and then trains the other one to be the dark side. Okay. And then, cause he's curious which one truly is stronger. And so he teaches each of them like their ultimate technique or whatever. And like the good guy's one is that he teaches him he can catch a lightsaber blade. Like he can hold it. Okay. And then the bad guys is that he can create like a force bubble inside you and start expanding it out. Okay. And as they're fighting each other, they then realize that they have the same master. And so they go to fight the master at the end because they realize they've been played. Okay. And so I have this image in my mind, and I've always wanted to film it, where all three of them fall from where they're fighting, and they fall through a skylight, okay, into like their like a training area, and there's all these lightsabers on the wall, and they keep force pulling them to them as they're like fighting, but then they're knocking them. The master's like knocking them out of their hands or breaking the blades, and they just keep pulling them. Like, does that make sense? So anyway, yeah, I wrote this whole thing out.
That's awesome.
Thanks. And again, I know it's crazy because like the, that happens in that Old Republic trailer.
I was just about to say, it's very similar to that.
I was going to say how I wrote it is that like, he's all like stand down, blah, blah, blah. And then he holds up his hand. He catches it like that. It's not like that he does it like how she did. Like he holds it for just a moment and pushes it off to get his lightsaber back. And, a very like that's my story like moment when I saw that, but I'm like, I mean, other people are going to have that idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wrote that when I was in high school. Is that I was like, that was like my Star Wars movie that I wanted to make.
That's awesome.
And because at that point, Revenge of the Sith had just come out, so I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to go back to the beginning, like ancient stuff. So, and I guess like again, the Old Republic kind of uses that idea with the emperor training both his kids, one kind of in the light and one in the dark.
You just sparked an idea. I got to see if I can find it. It was a fan film that came out. It was like called Troopers or something, or Bucketheads. Maybe it was Bucketheads.
Was it Troops? Where it's like cops?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Bucketheads. Yes. Wow, that's got a lot of views. So the fan film Bucketheads by Transmute Pictures.
Okay.
It's got 2.86 million views. I know those guys.
Okay.
Who made that. And I had a story that I almost made with them.
Oh, okay.
Well, I say almost. It's not like it was like just about to happen.
Yeah.
We were talking about it.
Yeah, actively talking about it. Yeah.
I don't know them well. I met them at a film festival at one time when I did some DC fan film work, and they'd had that fan film, and we had a festival together. And I had a story about it would start like on a gunship, and I'm trying to remember some of the details, but it was like a clone battalion, a master, and a Padawan.
Yeah,
and then the thing it gets shot down, and it like lands in the forest.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to collect their things and stuff, and they can't get their communications to work. They keep trying to get it to work. And the master keeps like, he's sensing something. You probably know where I'm going with this. And as soon as they get their communication going, it's Darth Sidious right away, or execute Order 66.
Yeah.
And it's chaos. Like everybody's coming because they had a rescue mission coming down.
Yeah.
And
now they're coming to kill them.
And now they're trying to fight it. Like the clones are trying to fight it. And what's interesting is I had this written before, also from high school, before Clone Wars Season 7 came out, like the clones fighting the chip.
Yeah.
And
even before the idea of a inhibitor chip, really?
No, it was, no, I think the chips were a thing.
Okay.
It might have been right after that when I saw that. I don't remember. But anyway, so they are fighting against this idea. And the Jedi Master, by the way, has a one arm. That's an important part of the story. And basically everybody kind of gets gunned down, and the Master sort of gives the clone mercy, like, stop fighting.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just do it. Like, I know this isn't you.
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting a lot of details, but basically what happened in the story is, and there's a massive time jump, and because the Padawan gets away, and the Padawan is hearing about his old master around, and he's like, I saw him die. There's no way he's still there. And he goes to the planet, and there is someone there, an old man wielding his master's lightsaber with one arm.
Is it the clone?
It's the clone.
Yeah.
He's not force sensitive,
Yeah.
but he wanted to carry on
Yeah.
his general's name.
That legacy.
And so he cut his own arm off
Yeah.
and wielded his lightsaber and did a lot of good things, but he never had the force. He just was a skilled warrior.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember how it ended, but that was the basic gist of it.
All right. Now that we've talked, okay, this is it. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel like that if I had, this is what I would do. I would love, and I've seen fan films kind of about this, but I would want to put my own spin on this, is I would love to do the story of a scout trooper trying to make it off Endor that night on Endor. Is I would love that, like, the shockwave of the of the Death Star blowing up, like, blows him to the ground or whatever, and wakes up, looks up at the sky, and it's just not there, and it's like trying to contact people. Like, again, I like that idea. Running into some Ewoks, getting attacked or whatever, running into rebels, like, yeah. And again, I've seen fan films kind of like that, but I guess I just haven't seen the fan film that's in my head, if that makes sense. About
almost like a horror movie.
Kind of, yeah. I wanted to, like, I would like, again, I want that idea, like that conversation where it's just like, where he runs into somebody else and, like, someone's like, it's gone. And he's like, what do you mean it's gone? That, like, I can't, we were winning. How did we lose? Like, I want that. Like, I want, like, gosh, it would be, again, with the scout trooper, it would be cool because they flip their helmets up. So yeah, just like, you know, just grabbing somebody, just being like, what do you mean it's gone? Like, it's not possible. Like, yeah, then it's just, I don't know, it's kind of, I guess I just haven't seen the film that's in my head about that subject, even though I've seen a couple movies. Like, anytime I see something where it's like, you know, that kind of concept of someone trying to escape off Endor, and, you know, Iden Versio in Battlefront, she looks up and sees it explode too. That I would, you know, I'd involve that too. That so it's not new imagery. We've seen it before, but I would like a more personal, I guess, story about that.
Who knows? Maybe one day we can break out the cameras and do something.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I don't even know if that's a good enough idea to do that. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
If you think it is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a cool idea.
I'd have to really shape it. That's the whole thing. Then I don't know. Do we really want to see Ewoks being like that? Like, could you imagine that? Yeah, like Ewok hunt. That's terrifying in Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've played that, haven't you? Yeah, it's getting hit with whistling birds or not whistling birds, the firefly pouch. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool, man. You got my mind buzzing on this too.
But anyway, I just I don't want to bore them, but I guess there's the answer to your question.
And we really went deep on that one.
I know.
Hey, that was the last question.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be it for the show this week. Next week, got a double drop on Bad Batch.
Woo!
Be looking out for the Indiana ComicCon video, and again for that post about the Hayden Rosario panel if you are interested in that. And
hoping to maybe do some more Star Wars Unlimited.
Yes, we got a video planned for that.
Yes, because many of you have requested, hey, Seth, teach us how to play this game. And
yes,
I love to talk about that game, so let's do it.
And so have a good weekend. Have a good Easter,
yes.
Good Resurrection Day.
Yes.
This comes out on Good Friday.
Mm-hmm. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter.
An important day of remembrance.
Yes.
Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Easter weekend.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.